Hours of power. Hours of power. Debates. Open your mind, your mind, your mind, your mind. Hours of power. Hours of power.
So, a community is where you control your commerce, you control your education, you control your house. We don't control none of that. We live in a good. Well, what about the Negroes that get out? My cousin, he's a multi-millionaire, almost got $1 billion. Three PhDs, working on 2 more. Driving down the street in Chicago, in his Rolls Royce, enjoying himself, and he hit his sirens and looked to the rear and hit his cop car, flashing lights. He squeezed the steering wheel, man. Heart beats fast. Because he knows the price of a Negro. And then when that cop car passed him by, he said, thank God, he wasn't after you in the first place, That Negro thing, you can't get away from. They wasn't coming after you. But all your failures, with your Rolls Royce, with your PhD, didn't help you. That's the hood. Why do you think you never pick up the paper and read over and over see white families come? You think there's thousands of black cops in America. Why don't you see white families trying as black cops? Got my love one point. I put the back of the head. Why do you think black cops are going to make you no spirit? I think that's good. No. They got enough sense to know that white folks ain't going to tolerate it. And I will stop in our neighborhood when we decide we will not tolerate. Now, if we were organized, which is hard to organize people who are just going to run crazy, you don't know you're crazy. But if we were, with the money we have, and the many people who would come to our aid that don't know what it's like to be a Negro, and we said, look, we saying, if we don't get a federal law to deal with police brutality, that any time a cop or anybody carry a gun, have to have a license just like you to drive a car. And if you use it wrong, then you lose your license. And if you're ill, you can never work again as a cop or a store boy or a private detective. Now, how do you get Congress to protect you? Well, you take your economic power and you call on your friends, black, white, young and old, and say, let's come in Christmas. We don't have a federal law to outlaw police brutality by law. We call it for a nationwide boycott of Christmas and it start on Thanksgiving with 79% of all retail in America happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. People stay in business all year, lose money just for Christmas, huh? Well, what happened now? Can I say that? Georgia, season over, restaurants. They will get the bill, and all they got to do is make one phone call and say, Harry, the senator, I want that bill pushed through in 3 days. Okay, it's an economic thing. But we have the power, but the system has wiped us out so bad.
Open your mind, your mind, your mind.
And peace, folks. And welcome back to another edition of the Proper the Thought series right here on the old TPOT YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black ass is here. Tonight, boy, we got a good one for y'all tonight, boy. As y'all can see down here, We're gonna have Brother Fantastic versus Brother S.K.C. And tonight's topic is, who are the anti-blacks? Yeah, we're gonna throw down tonight, y'all. It's gonna be a good one. You know, it's going to be a good one. But before we get started, as always, I gotta thank the folks, man. What's going on, Epic Empowerment? I see you up there, brother. Yeah, I gotta thank the folks, man, like I always do. You know, I mean, you folks, man, y'all support me so much, man. Y'all support this platform so much, you know. I mean, and you don't have to do it. You know, you don't have to show up here every damn week. You don't have to freaking show up to these damn streams, share these videos, like these videos, watch these videos, and you definitely don't have to drop your hard-earned coins on this platform, but you choose to do so. And it's appreciated, man. I appreciate all of y'all, man. I appreciate all y'all good folks out there, man. You know, it's always good to be up here with y'all, man. And you know, I consider all of y'all to be my supporters, you know, whether you drop coins on this platform or not. But I appreciate all of you, man. I do. I appreciate all you brothers and sisters, man, who look out for this platform, man. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm appreciative, man. And I thank y'all, man. I thank all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't say it to kiss your butts, because like I always say, y'all been following me long enough to know that X don't kiss no butts. But I say it because I genuinely mean it. And I'm sincere about it, man. And I appreciate all of y'all, you know, and I thank you. All right. All right. Now, also, before we get started, I want to get this, because and shout out to Brother Ray Alexander. He's always sending me this stuff. Today he sent me a thing talking about Walmart for you brothers out there who drive trucks or getting ready to drive trucks. Brother Ray Alexander sent me a thing today talking about Walmart. Oh, good look, Brother O'Shea, on that super chat, man. Appreciate that, brother. Good look. Walmart is hiring, y'all, 500 long haul truck drivers, and the average salary is $87,500. $87,500, which ain't bad. I mean, that ain't bad. Right here it says Walmart is expanding its trucking fleet by more than 500 drivers this year. The company announced it in a blog post on Monday. The Bentonville-based retailer says it's looking for experienced drivers to work mainly across the West and East Coast. All right. Now, Walmart's high minimum standards for applications include 30 months of experience in the past 3 years and a clean safety record. The company says that drivers can earn an average of $87,000 per year. Each year, Walmart's 8,000 drivers travel more than 700 million miles and deliver millions of cases of merchandise to Walmart's and Sam's Club's 4,700 locations across the nation. Interested drivers who meet the criteria can apply at driveforwalmart.com. That's driveforwalmart.com. So shout out to Brother Ray Alexander, because he's always, you know, sending me that kind of shit, you know, for the brothers to look at. And also myself, y'all know I'm in the Queen City. I landed a very, very big job this year, and I'm going to need some brothers. Maybe 10, maybe up to 10. We throw down in April. If you need a Queen City and your black ass need a job and you ready to do some work, I start my guys out with $15 an hour. If you stick around, I bump you up to 20. You won't get rich, but you'll be able to pay that child support, that car note, and that rent. So that's another thing. I mean, if it's, you know, if you need a Queen City, hit old X up. We moving pretty slow mode now. We ain't doing too much now, but probably within the next 3 weeks, we're going to ramp right up. I mean, full speed ahead in April. You understand? So if you need a Queen City and you know your way around a toolbox, hit OX up, and I'll give you a shot. I mean, I will give you a shot. Only thing I ask is that you know your way around the toolbox, and you're a person that's willing to work. When you come in here, it's probably not the best thing to do to come in here with zero experience, because I need you to have some experience. I can't sit around and teach you what every tool is, but if you know your way around the toolbox, all the other shit, I can kind of grandfather you in on all the other shit. But you got to have the fundamentals. If you have the fundamentals, I'm willing to work with you. Okay? You got my word on that. And I give you a shot. And like I said, people know top of the season, I tell y'all this all the time. Come through. If you're near my area, hit me up. My email is on the YouTube page. Hit me up. Let me know where you at. Let me know when you can start. Let me know what you know, and we'll work something out. All right. All right. So, also, don't worry, y'all. We're going to get to it in a minute because all the folks is here. Y'all know we got to do this, right? I hate that I got to do this. I hate it, but I must. Now, tonight, we throwing down with Brother S.K.C. and Brother Fantastic, right? So, Brother Fantastic's fans will not be disrespecting Brother S.K.C. Brother S.K.C.'s fans will not be disrespecting Brother Fantastic. Y'all know how we do it here. We don't put up with the disrespect and the bullshit. If you're one of those people who want to show some disrespect to people on my panel, you're probably going to get one word out before. And the same goes for the ladies. You get one word out.
Fatality.
Yeah, that's how we do it. So don't fuck around. All right? Just don't fuck around. That's all. Keep it clean, keep it respectful. You're allowed to discuss, you're allowed to disagree, but you will not be disrespecting. Discuss, disagree, no disrespect. All right? All right. So let me bring in my folks. Brother Supreme, Brother Fantastic. And of course, y'all know we always got a celebrity timekeeper, none other than Brother RJ Rochelle. What's up, brothers?
What's up, CPOT?
Hey, what's good, everybody? How we doing?
What's
Yeah,
good
what's
with
going
it?
on, y'all?
What's going on? Okay. Now then, I know all of y'all already know the rules, but let me explain the rules for folks who may not be familiar with them. This is how we start out. We start out with 7-minute opening statements for each debater. After that, we go into the rebuttal round, and each rebuttal will be 5 minutes per debater. We go on that for about an hour. We take a little break, and then when we come back to something called rapid fire. Rapid fire, the debaters get to engage directly, no clock. All right. We do that for a little while, and then we wind up with 7-minute closing statements. And if the brothers have time, we take some questions from the audience. All right. All right. So tonight we are debating who are the anti-blacks. We don't really have a for or an against. So who wants to go first? Who wants to go second on opening statements?
I'll concede to Fantastic.
Okay, works for me. All right. Timekeeper, can I get 7 minutes on the clock, please?
Coming up, brother. 7. All right, I'm ready.
All right, brother. Fantastic. You up?
Hey, shout out to TPOT for posting the debates. Glad to be back again. Shout out to my opponent S.K.C. Shout out to the timekeeper RJ. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna be the playing the anti-black side tonight, man. My man SKC is very good at being able to do either, so I'm pretty sure he's good with, representing the other side for a change, being the non-coon. So I'm gonna do all the cooning tonight. So the anti-black, by the understanding of the pro-black, would be anyone who's considered by normal people a law-abiding citizen. Any person that's concerned with lifelong progress, anybody that's concerned with um, conforming, anybody that's concerned with career mindedness, anybody that's concerned with logic and intellect, anybody that's concerned with true family values, those type things. The anti-black is anyone who's not going to hang their hat on racism and white supremacy and the oppression of the white man and the system keeping me down and the white man keeping his foot on my neck and all those things. The anti-black is the person who they love to say has the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, when even it's already been proven that black men have always pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, and even currently to this day, the fact that there's never been a majority of black men who or black people who have been criminals. So the non-criminals again are the main people that are considered anti-black, and more importantly, those who are willing to speak out and say and speak down upon those who try to hinge their life decisions and multiple mistakes on that logic and those fallacies. So when you really look into it, the anti-black is just anyone that's not that refuses to proclaim themselves as pro-black. Anybody that refuses to, make an excuse for single motherhood at a 70+% rate, the highest STD rates of any other demographic, the highest poverty rate of any other demographic, still making the lowest earnings of any other demographic, even though outside of us, Native Americans, who are, as people love to say and love to claim, nearly extinct. The best actual best real life example of near extinction, the Native Americans here, and Caucasians and us have been here the longest, but yet and still, black people still have the least when it comes to financial wealth, growth, ownership, all those things out of all of the dynamics. And it's even far, far more sad and shameful when you look into immigrants, whether they be Arab, whether they be Indian, or even our African brothers from the continent. And it's just really, really sad when you look into the lack of importance on education, even though they would love to tell you, well, education. I'll never forget it. Shout out to everybody that's ever watched the movie Blue Chip, when Shaq said the infamous line about him not doing so well on the SAT test at the time is that it's culturally biased. Well, I'm unsure how the culturally biased excuse will work when again you have people who come here from other countries and they outperform you, like, it's not even funny, it's not even close. These are people who English isn't even their first language. These are people who, the American culture isn't their culture whatsoever. So, and they still outperform you on the test. The thing about learning is pretty much a simple process. It's a repetitive process of reading something, studying something, memorizing it, and being able to regurgitate it at will when called upon to do so. And the fact that a lot of people use the education system for a daycare more so than an aid to actually help the children to learn and be successful in the real world and be able to move up into the corporate realm at the higher levels with those STEM degrees, with those engineering degrees, even with some doctorate degrees or specialty degrees such as law and let's see, what's be another good one, finances, things like that. All in all, it's far too much of a dearth of focus on the things that any everybody else around us has shown us you need to focus on. Because if you focus on those things, you're being anti-black and you're being pro-white, you're being pro-Asian, you're being pro-Arab, you're being pro Indian, you're even being pro-African. All right, but even though everybody wants you to go back to Africa, some degrees of the pro-blacks and people who don't like the anti-blacks would say. So all in all, ultimately, the anti-black is the person that refuses to follow the narrative of the pro-black. Okay, the anti-black is the person who sees the importance of the black male in the dynamic, and they understand how damaging fathers being removed from the household has been to the black community. The anti-black is the person who will bring up the actual stats, data, and historical context and proof of women choosing welfare over daddy government over actual black fathers. And whenever you use that, even though you have plenty and plenty upon, documents, books, research by scholarly references, and just many, and even the eye test to see it. If you bring that up and you speak against that sacred cow, which is the black woman, dear mama, even though you was a crack fiend mama, you always was a black queen mama. You're anti-black because you're disrespecting this goddess who is the black woman. Because the black woman is God. That's another avenue. You know what I'm saying? That if you don't follow that rhetoric, you are also the anti-black. So all in all, and I wrap this up, the anti-black is the person who's going to believe in his or herself, believe in their ability versus trying to find an excuse for their failures in life. And I'll cede my time right there.
All right. How much time was left, timekeeper? How much time did he have left?
He stopped right at like his last 9 seconds.
Oh, okay.
It literally just,
all right. Let me get.
The alarm literally just went off.
All right. Well, let me get 7 minutes on the clock, please, timekeeper.
Dealing with pros now, X. We right. Pros over here. You know how we got it.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
He got it broken down to a time. All right, come on. It's on you. It's on you, G.
Brother Supreme, you up?
All right. Well, like my interlocutor stated, I'd like to, thank Xavier for opening up his panel for this, and of course to the timekeeper in the chat and people listening in.
PG.
I was looking at some of the chat when I was listening to Mr. Fantastic, and a person, I think his name is Floyd L. Holt. He said, this isn't fair because S.K.C can't be a coon. Well, nah, I'm going to be that coon doing this debate. But this is my angle when it comes to the whole idea of anti-blackness and identifying who they are. Well, I have to come to the defense of B1, of pro-blacks, of hoteps, of the conscious community, of the Ungawa Black Power individuals, and all of the subsects that come along with that great variety of individuals. Even coons have to be defended in that. Of course, I'll be defending myself. Well, the idea of being anti-black, if you look at the definition of anti, it says something that is opposed to, against. And of course, the noun goes into the idea of a person opposed to a particular policy, activity, or idea. Now, I'm going to read that one more time so the audience can really get where I'm coming from when I make my statement. Again, anti, a person opposed to a particular policy, activity, or idea. Well, I'm going to hold during this debate that the only anti Blacks are classic racists who are non Black by birth. I don't believe that there are any Black people who could be called anti Black. And the major reason for that is because Black people and Blackness is undefined. Because Black people don't act as a monolith, and because they're not united in any policy, activity, or idea, it's impossible for a person to be Black and be against Blackness, since there is no firm definition of it, and there are no firmly entrenched majority groups within, say, Black society. Black people have become so fragmented over the past really 60 to 70 years that it's impossible for anyone to say that their actions, whether it is being a coon or being a pro-Black or being a B1 individual, would be going against Blackness, because there are groups of those individuals within Black society. So you're always going to, even if you're an individualist, such as kind of like a Ramil Amir, he's going to find a group of individuals that think just like him amongst Black people. The Coons, S.K.C, there's going to be groups of coons that think just like pro-Blacks, the same thing. And then, of course, we can look right here on YouTube and understand that there are individuals that fall within the whole concept of Black first that are going to find a group that identify with what they're saying. So for anyone to say anti-Black, well, in order for you to be anti-Black in the truthfulness of that definition, you would have to be against all of those groups all at once. And I contend that that would be impossible for any Black person to be, because like I stated, even as an individualist, you're going to find groups that agree with you being an individual Black person. Now, I know that puts me in a rock in a hard place so far as a defense. I'm curious to see how my interlocutor, comes up to the challenge of it. Of course, I've had set my traps, so I'll go ahead and throw that out there to him. But again, going to the definition of anti, and I'll just repeat it so the audience can really get the soundness of the idea. In order to do that, you would have to be opposed to or against a particular policy, activity, or idea. Again, I ask, is there a policy? Is there an activity? Or is there an idea that there's a majority within Black people that they hold to? I don't think that there is. Again, Black people are so fragmented, and we've gotten to the point to where men and women don't even agree on staying together. And I'll end with the whole thought of just this past, I would say primary, there was a NPR report that showed that men and women within Black America are fragmented under the idea of policies that they want politically. And they were all over the table. So Again, I think that the only anti-blacks would be classic racists who are non-black by birth. I see my time.
All right. Before we get into the rebuttal rounds, just hold on 1 minute, debaters, because I'm looking down here at these numbers. These numbers are not matching. I like these numbers to match. You got your black ass in here. God damn it, hit the damn like button. Jesus. You act like you don't have hands, you don't have fingers to click that damn mouse. And if you're feeling generous, hit that damn cash app too. This is gonna be a good debate. Don't make me come up on here and threaten to haunt your old black ass mama in her dreams just to get you to hit the goddamn like button. All right? All right. So now we're gonna go into the rebuttal rounds. Like I said, each debater will have 5 minutes. We left off with Brother Supreme. Brother Fantastic, you up. 5 minutes on the clock, please, timekeeper.
5 minutes heard.
All right. The wonderful thing about my opponent here is he's very, very skilled. And he almost hit me with the Houdini, but he'll hit me with the the unbreakable lock. But I'm something like a Houdini when it comes to these logical traps. See, there's a finite definition for anti, and hey, can't go. But you know what? There's no finite definition for black. There is no finite definition for black because if you really understand it, black is not a race. I've heard that several times within this black YouTube sector of how black isn't even a race. Black is something of a ideology of a cultural sect of people in the American society. Even black people are the only people, or African American, ADOS. I think was FBA, fundamentally Black Americans now. We went from Negroes to what was the other ones? It was coloreds. I mean, again, it's just the word black in itself is just leaves so much room. So my counter to his well, you'd have to be someone that's non-black. I said, well, no, because he actually gave me a lot of ammunition and foundation in stating a very well-known fact that black there are certain and several factors within Black America itself. You have the pro-blacks, you have the hoteps, you have the frat bros, the Divine Nine guys, the I think they like to call them the universes of Masters of the Universe brothers. You have your working class blue collar brothers, you have your white collar brothers. It's so many things, and that's one thing because if you really want to go back to it and look at to where this fracture happened, you'd have to go back and look to the civil rights movement and the Civil Rights Act being passed. Because before then, we all being that we couldn't depend on the government, we had to depend on each other, and everyone seeing each other as their brother and as their equal. But after that, and you got a taste of integration and the illusion of inclusion, then there begin to be all this separation and all these different things. And this is what a lot of people like to say, well, you think you acting wide, you think you're too good, you this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. But in actuality, it was just, like people seeing their final chance to live the American dream that they were always promised as American citizens. So what we have here is, two conflicting, I guess, terms, one that's finite and one that's very, very open. And like I said, I know for a fact that there are black people that are against other black people. And there's no black people against other black people more so than the lowly of the black people. The lowest of the low, the people who don't put their best foot forward, the people who don't want to compete on the level to be that, to get that American dream, to be that law-abiding citizen, to be that asset to society. The finessers, the scammers, the dope boys, the niggas that's in and out of jail, this and the other, the product of my environment brothers, my baby daddy ain't shit, ladies, all those type things, man. So My thing would be that you most certainly can have people that are black that aren't necessarily racist that are anti-black, because the person that all of these people, are willing to come against are people like me and my opponent here, the ones that have settled down and made families, settled down and use their talents towards careers, and they do not promote the rhetoric of white supremacy. Everybody is anti-black of those people because you're taking away the blood of your ancestors that was shed in slavery. You're taking away the boycotts and everything of the Civil Rights Act and Jim Crow, and you're doing everything that the white man wants you to do as the puppet and the coon that you are, because you really want to be white. And I'll see my time on that.
Brother Supreme, you up? Timekeeper. Can I get 5 minutes on the clock, please?
Absolutely. Now, X. So we're transferring what few seconds he had left over. He had 22 left over. Or you want to
if Brother Supreme wants it, if he wants it, he can have it. If he don't want it, forget about it. Start it from the top.
Let's do it.
Do you want it? Do you want it, Brother Supreme?
I'll start fresh.
Okay. 5 minutes it is. You up?
Well, my interlocutor is correct in saying that black, the term black, is vague, and that there has been a variety of different terms used to describe this race of individuals within America. However, each of those terms are interconnected with each other. Whenever they were used, everyone that used those different terms knew exactly who they were talking about. So in itself, those collective of terms all equal to the same individuals. They are, and in fact, synonyms. So if you want to go into the whole thing of the Negro, the color, the fill in the blanks. Again, the individuals understood exactly who was being spoken to and why. So that kind of confers the idea of intent. When they use the words black or Negro or whatever other terms, the intent was to describe this race of individuals. Intent. Now, on that idea of intent, I think that plays a vital role into this whole thing of being anti or against. Now, I'll throw in the wrinkle that intent plays a vital role even when you think of our criminal justice system. Though an individual may be guilty of a crime, intent plays a vital role into how that individual is sentenced, or even if they get off from it. Why do I bring this up? Well, if a person that is at the lowest of the low, as Mr. Fantastic brought up, some of the individuals that go out and perhaps they murder other Black folk, or they sell drugs, or they get into the whole baby mamaism and fathering of all sorts of amounts of children, and all sorts of other dysfunction. Intent comes into play, especially when you juxtapose that against flat out racist. Individuals that come out of the racist institutions, for instance, like the KKK and other rival institutions, like I was stating at the beginning of this debate, these individuals don't care if you're a Black coon. They don't care if you're a pro-Black Black. They don't care if you're a B1 Black. They don't care what type of Black you are. They are, by definition, opposed to any policy, any activity or any ideas you have. Whereas the individuals that Mr. Fantastic described, the lowest of the low, they may not necessarily be against all of the policies of Black people, or all of the activities of Black people, or all of the ideas of Black people. In fact, their intent usually is on some type of selfish endeavor, but they are not against all Black people when they get into these particular acts. And I think that fine line shows that, again, in order for an individual to be a true anti Black, that they would have to fit that definition that I initially stated: a classic racist who is non Black by birth. I'll see you, my time.
Gotcha. Yeah, 30 seconds left.
All right. Brother Fantastic, you want that 30 seconds?
Nah, we keep it fresh, man. We keep it with the fresh vibe.
Okay, works for me. 5 minutes on the clock. Time keeper, please. You up, Brother Fantastic.
All right. So another great point by my opponent in going the law route. So let's just get let's go a little further back. From ignorantia legis nenium excusat. All right. Ignorance of the law excuses no one. Okay. Ignorance of the law, even though you may not have the intent of breaking the law. Okay. Everybody's heard this excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking the law, pretty much. Okay. And one of the main things when it comes to the anti-Blacks within the Black community of itself, or the Black race of itself, is we break the law against ourselves more so than anyone else. So what can be more anti than the actual harming, killing, maiming, robbing, stealing, aborting yourself? Again, 20 million abortions over the last 40 years by Black women. These weren't forced abortions. These were things that Black women willingly went on for the convenience of their lives. You do the research for abortions, less than 1%, and I think it's also something similar, less than 3% are due to actual women's health issues or life saving for the mother, and less than 3% for actual rape or conception. So over the last 40 years, 20 million Black people who could be the next scientist, who could be the next president, who could be the next genius, who could be the cure for cancer, who could be, who knows, millions of possibilities, just literally, for lack of better words, flushed down the toilet over the convenience and the choice of a woman for being irresponsible. And still being done to this day. I think they said the latest calculations are something like 1,400 abortions a day by Black women, of Black fetuses, just for the convenience of being able to go out there and live her best life, as they say, have a hot girl summer and all those type things, right? So my challenge to my opponent would be, please tell me what's more anti-Black than taking the lives of your future. What's more anti-Black than literally snuffing out the life of someone that looks just like you with every other demographic? Even though proximity crime is true, we know this. Every race kills every person that looks like them more than anybody else. But again, when you look at us, we have the highest rate. We have the highest rate. We treat each other the worst. We'll kill each other before we even think about raising the hands to somebody else. Because you know why? You fear that racist. Even the racist. I'll never forget it. We go back to the Trump election, and these Black people show up to the rallies, and that old white man punched this dude in the face, man. This old crotchety white man punched this Black guy in the face. And do you know that old white man, he's living to this day, and he was able to make a verbal threat saying, hey, we might have to kill him next time. Man, do you know what I would have done if I would have been in this man's shoes and this dude gave me the green light, some old 80-year-old crotchety white man that weighs like 100 some odd pounds. Oh my God, man, thing would have been better than a real live field goal. But again, that's that fear that you know to have when it comes to somebody outside your race versus when it's somebody inside your race. Whenever there's a problem within two black people, whether it be black man or black woman, it's the ultimate level of disrespect. And so ultimate and so far, so will go so far to the extent of actually taking a life. So my opponent gave a very, very good point about intent. But the most important thing, even more so than intent, is the result. Even if you didn't intend to take a life, you took that life. And like back in the day, long time ago, when you take a life, you'd also have to give a life in return. But unfortunately, like I said, you don't have to work with those parameters today. And I would definitely, that's why I'm in favor of bringing those days back so that black people would take it more seriously for caring about each other's lives. And that should be my time, about around 5 seconds left.
Brother Supreme, you up. 5 minutes on the clock, please.
Man, I was hoping that Mr. Fantastic wouldn't pull that one out until much later. It's a very difficult position to defend, especially being a lifelong coon. However, concerning the thought of the abortions in the black community, I'm not going to come out and say that black women are victims, not in any way. They know exactly what. Well, I won't say that, but I will say that much like certain things that have happened within the black community, it has changed the mindsets of individuals throughout it. Take, for example, people have now began to become more animalistic in their thinking, their activities, their actions. And they've even began to call themselves by certain animal names, and they describe themselves as such, savage and the whole nine. So I'm going to make the argument that much like certain animals that when left to their devices after being domesticated, often do harm to themselves, but they don't understand the reality of what they're doing. Take, for instance, some people have domesticated horses, and you have to leave just enough amount of hay in there and so forth, or they'll just keep eating and eating. Same thing with goldfish and other type of domesticated animals. They do harm to themselves, but can one state that those animals are anti whatever animal they are? Hard position to take, because now I have to put black women in the state of animals. But since my opponent has pulled up the whole thought about the 21 million abortions, I'm forced to do so. Now, does it make sense though? I believe so. Look at the state of how black women are acting, even at this moment. We see so many videos from content creators all throughout the manosphere, all on various channels. Tommy Sotomayor almost every day can cover some type of animalistic activity that black women are into that goes beyond any type of logical or rational thought. So is it what shouldn't we expect them to do something such like as these millions and millions of abortions? I think so. I really think that the community or society of Black people as a whole is trending towards more of an animalistic type of society. So, going back to the whole thought of the criminal justice, in criminal justice, one of the defenses that is often put is insanity, and also individuals not having the capacity to understand what they are doing. That is quite different from a classic racist who opposes Black people solely because of how they look. And I think that distinction has, again, to be made. Again, my opponent pulled out a big one. But if we look, as one of my contemporaries, Ty City, says in many occasions, even on Mr. Fantastic's channel, that he views women just as little children. Are we to look at little children and say that they know exactly what they're doing or that they understood intent? I think not. That should be my time.
It is. It is. You stop right. You stop literally right on the money, on the spot.
You muted, X. We can't hear you, bro. Everything you saying, you muted.
Oh shit, my bad. Now I was saying this is good shit. Y'all stopping like right on time. This is good shit. Timekeeper, 5 minutes on the clock, please. Brother Fantastic, you up.
All right, so man, I should have knew I was gonna get a haymaker thrown right back at me. That's the insanity plea, or the competency of the witness or the defendant. That's a real tough one to tackle, but as I will, I'll try. Well, this is the thing, and this is, even though I agree, I have to agree with that to some point. Then too, you still have to go back to when we're talking about children. Even though we say women are children, or women can be as children, and hell, in this fact, a lot of these adult males can be as children. Okay, but if and when I can see those same adult females and adult males using social media for entertainment purposes, and that same social media is the modern day Alexandria of knowledge that you can simply Google or Yahoo, ask any question that you want to and become educated and enlightened. I can't allow grown adults to hang their hat, you know what I'm saying, on that excuse. Again, this goes back to the hate for some reason of intellect and logic by the Black communities. And this is why the logical, the accomplished, the established, the secure are looked at as anti-Black because, oh, I'm living for tomorrow. Tomorrow ain't promised. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow ain't promised. Ain't nothing guaranteed. I can die. I can die today. I can die tonight. Well, again, one of my life sayings, man, that I've come up with and I live by this. Well, hey, you say tomorrow ain't promised. What you gonna do when tomorrow come? And it's a lot of Black people out here, adult children. These adult children that my opponent refers to, that are living by this philosophy. And unfortunately, they're passing down those same traits and philosophies down to their children. See, great people, successful people plan. They set deadlines. They set expectations. They make adjustments. Excuse me. They make adjustments where they see failures. Insanity, because my opponent used the insanity plea, so much of the insanity and the competency. So I have to bring this up. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. So when we look at that dynamic of it, just how many insane Black people do we have out here in the community? How many insane adults do we have out here that are lording over children and raising our next generation? What's more anti-black than that? Than setting up your future for failure? That's quite diabolical. Again, if you're not having the children, or if you're not aborting the children and killing them before they even get here, and again, this isn't me saying, of course, this is the majority, because again, the majority of black people are not, the ne'er-do-wells. But unfortunately, even though they aren't the majority, the loudest voice comes from the minority. Okay, the loudest portrayal of all black people is what? The minority, the baby mamas, the criminals, the dope boys, all these things that the entertainers love to portray. One of the most infamous recent urban series was the Power. Power was all about a man that was this just genius, and at the end of the day, he was just nothing more than a street drug dealer. You try to dress it up and do all these other things, but again, until we can get to the point of where the black man can be the politician, he can be the judge, he can be the doctor, he can be the genius, the scholar, we'll all just keep running around insane. Like my opponent said, lacking competency, like my opponent said, and we got to get away from that. Okay, and that's going to start by the blacks or the anti-blacks challenging the people that are considered as blacks and are represented as blacks by the mainstream. We have to start challenging this and attacking this head on as the black people. That's my time.
Brother Supreme, you up? 5 minutes on the clock, please, timekeeper.
All right, man. My opponent is a slippery fellow, man. But I have to come back to the thought of competency, since we go ahead and we accepted the premise of criminal justice and law. I have to charge that because of the way that several generations of Black people have gone about their family structure and family building, that for Mr. Fantastic to say that a lot of the what will be called the lower individuals who do a lot of the criminal actions and low vibrational type of activity, wouldn't that be almost akin to saying retards are being raised by retards? Do we throw retards in knowingly in prison? Do we not give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to their intent? Well, in some occasions they are thrown in prison, but people understand that they weren't of their right mind. And the individuals that get off are understood that they need to be put in some type of mental health facility, because they have no idea of the long-term repercussions of what they're doing. So I'm going to have to say that a lot of those individuals that fall into the lower branches do fall into that category. Whereas some of them may have literal learning deficiencies due to certain things such as incest and so forth, which we know happens within the Black community more than what is being talked about. But we also have individuals that have their mentality destroyed, their literal minds destroyed before they are given an opportunity to grow, almost as if a bird having its wings clipped before it even learned how to fly. You see this often with mothers having children and fathers smoking in front of them with all sorts of different drugs, involving them in different activities that curb their ability to process and to think about setting up delayed gratification as a standard in their life. So, what do we call individuals that do not have the capacity for long term planning? Well, those are animals. Animals don't build future things to make the successive generations' lives easier. Animals don't think about uh, what what they can discover in other places and how that could grow their society of animals. Animals do not contemplate um, a higher level thought to learn how things work and to understand its function in relation to the universe. No, animals eat, they replicate, and try to have a little fun. Right now, the individuals that Mr. Fantastic is describing, unfortunately, fall into that category. And if they do so, they cannot be anti Black because they don't even understand what it is to function in a society and to be against its entire group because they have no understanding of the grand picture of things. So, uh, a hard position to take, yes, but is it in line with my coonish nature? Indeed, it is. Yes, I'm calling many of these individuals within these groups that Mr. Fantastic described as the lower rungs as akin to animals. I cede my time.
All right, we're gonna do one more round because we started off with Brother Fantastic, right? So we're gonna do one more round. We're gonna go Brother Fantastic, then Brother Supreme, and then we're gonna take a little break. Then we're gonna come back. We're gonna go right into rapid fire. All right, Brother Fantastic, you up? 5 minutes on the clock, please.
Okay. All right. So, man, this is I'm kind of man, respect for the handicap, huh? Okay, so this is the thing. This is the thing about, especially when it comes to the mentally challenged. There are tests that have to be done, and tests that have to be performed, and I'm really liking a lot of the things that my opponent is bringing up, because I think this can be used as some sort of a gauge or an actual, you know, format that could be used later on for the Black people to actually see what they're dealing with, so we know how to handle a person. Because I'm with him. If a person is truly underdeveloped mentally and they actually have some type of mental deficiency, by all means, that person should be given the chances, and the proper care, and try to be brought up to speed. But if and when that person is sought out to be competent and of the level of, a competent person, and they do not suffer a mental illness or a mental retardation, by all means, again, you're going to have to be held to the normal standard. And I think we all know that those numbers of legally and clinically determined mental retardation sufferers was not going to be that high. Um, but to his point, that could even be, and again, this goes back and actually helps my point, Enrique, because again, when you teach the child and the children, that this behavior just by bad decision making, even if it's not, a actual clinical issue or mental condition, and the child sees this, human beings learn through imitation. Okay, children are copycats and sponges. So when you grow up in this environment, they don't know. A child doesn't know if the person is either handicapped or they're just being a belligerent, you know, asshole. So this is why I say, furthermore, when it comes to the anti-blacks, I mean the anti-blacks call out this, and we point out, hey, How is it that you're on your third child by the third man and you're still in poverty? Oh, why you hating you this? You worried about her? You vagina? You pussy policing? You dick policing? You really want to be with her? No. No. I'm worried about the future of my race. Okay, that's what I'm concerned with. When I see this child being brought up in chaos, dysfunction, and poverty, okay, that's going to bleed over into possibly my household, because my child is going to have to interact with your child. And again, children are what? They're imitators. And in the early developmental stages, all the way up through teenage years, children what? They want to be accepted by their peers. So if and when your child happens to come around these group of people that are influenced by these type of adults who may or may not be clinically mentally, challenged, but all the children are coming out as the results of a household, then that bleeds over into the anti-blacks and their training of their children properly, because they're trying to promote them to the next level, and again, being those law-abiding assets to society and conquerors of the real world. These children group that grow up in this learns ain't nothing like a real nigga. I gotta be a real nigga. I gotta be a real nigga. When the anti-blacks teach about manhood, the world respects real men. The world don't recognize niggas at all. The only thing the world uses niggas for is for the prison industrial complex to make the money and to work low-level minimum wage jobs until they're like 60 years old. Okay. So all in all, we have to get out of this thing of where we give the pass. All right. I know it's hard. You look at your brother and your sister and you say, well, we don't know their story. Well, again, everybody has a story, but every book has to be closed at some point in time. That should be my time.
Brother Supreme, you up. 5 minutes on the clock, please. Brother Supreme. Paging Brother Supreme.
No. I'm there.
Okay. Go ahead. 5 minutes on the clock, timekeeper. You up.
Okay. Yeah, my opponent, he almost knocked me off my square with that one, but I got something for him. So, when he brought up the whole idea of the the handicap, the retards, and so forth, that was one part of it. And I think one of the people in the chat, Manosphere Maniac, got where I was going with it when he said address S.K.C's point about incest in the community. So when you have these individuals reproducing with each other over and over and over and over again, you're going to have a lot of issues mentally. In addition to that, these individuals that I would call the animalistic of our society, who are raising them. Again, as I stated at first, it's almost like having retards raising other retards. So, to give them some type of thought of them being anti-black, again, they have no idea of the bigger picture, because as many of them have stated, even in conversations with us, they are in survival mode, much like animals would be. They don't view things such as principles, standards, ideals. Those things are outside of their spectrum of thinking. In fact, they view such things as as non-essential. So when you put them in that type of mind frame, by definition, they can't be anti-black because they don't even understand the concept of, again, going back to the definition, policies, activities, or ideas given in a society. No concept of it. They're just living day to day, uh, trying to fulfill those very basic concepts that my interlocutor likes to bring up when he uses Maslow's triangle or pyramid of needs. So we have to look at the intent. Their intent is much different from, take for instance, like a classic racist, like a KKK member when he goes out and hangs or kills or burns or so forth, or when you have like a classic racist who prevents an individual from attaining what he needs to in order to make it in life, like a job or to have some type of opportunity or even basic rights. The intent matters. It's much, 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 much different. So to put those individuals in league with or under the title of being anti-black would be a disservice. I'll put it this way so that the audience can um, get a fuller picture of where I'm coming from when I state that the groups, the lower level players that Mr. Fantastic is bringing up when he talks about the abortion, when he talks about the massive amounts of spreading of the seed, when he talks about the drugs and various other vices within the community, as I'm charging, those individuals simply aren't smart enough to understand the bigger picture. They don't know, they don't grasp the grand design of things. For whatever reason that is, I'm charging that possibly some sort of mental lacking or mental deficiency. And I think that that could be substantiated when you look at some of the decisions that are continually made within these subsets and subcultures amongst Black people. I mean, who would do some of those atrocities with a clear mind at such a massive scale? That has to be basically retarded. I'll see or close.
All right. That's that's gonna conclude that part, the rebuttal part of the debate. You're listening to the Proper Thought series right here on the TPOT YouTube page, the Hours of Power debates. We got Brother Fantastic versus Brother Supreme King Coon, and we are debating who are the anti-blacks. And I must admit, this is a very, very good debate, man. This is like one of the better debates that I've had on here because it's like a true debate, man. I'm liking this shit. So this is what we're gonna do. First, what we're gonna do is hit that goddamn like button. We're gonna do that. We're gonna hit that goddamn like button. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do
hit
first.
the fucking head.
Got at least the 6 people who hit the goddamn dislike, at least they had enough goddamn wherewithal to use their mouths and hit the goddamn button. I got 102 of you in here. The least you can do is hit the goddamn like button, man. Come on. Now we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back in about 5 minutes. And when we come back on the other side of the break, we're going into rapid fire where the debaters directly engage. No clock. All right. All right. Hit that goddamn like button before I haunt your old black ass mom in her dreams tonight. I'll see you on the other side of this break, folks.
We gotta stop this shit. Open your minds.
And I'll be honest with you, go to church and listen to the most vulgar gangster rap in church and hear you niggas sing Amazing Grace. Do you know how filthy that song is? Do you know people all over the world laugh at you? And the sad part about it, most of you don't know John Newton wrote that song. How many of y'all know that? He was a drug, a slave trader that would make Hitler look like an altar boy. Came out of a house where his daddy was a preacher.
In your mind.
So he knew about repentance, although he had denied the church. And then he got caught out on one of his pleasure boats. Got caught on pleasure boat. And the storm came up. Y'all ever saw something? Made Katrina look like a picnic. And he fell on his knees. He said, God, oh Lord, let me repent, forgive me, don't let me die. And the storm ceased. And he was so grateful, he wrote that song. And you need to sit up to talk about forgive a wretch. You don't even know what a wretch is. He said, forgive a wretch like me. Can you imagine if that boy's mama would have been a whore and as notorious as he was, and God saved her, and she write a song about thank God for forgiving a hoe like me, and your black mama sitting up in church singing, forgive a hoe like me. What kind of boy? I go all over the world. I go to China, check out the Christian community. Jesus looked Chinese. Go to Africa, India, Jesus looked Indian. Go to Japan, go to Brazil, Jesus looked Brazilian. Come back home to America and go in the black community to a black church, and Jesus is a white man, and you wonder what's wrong with your children. You nigga.
In your mind.
Christ got 12 disciples. Christ born in a place where ain't nothing but niggas. And he chose 12 disciples. He didn't only pick European, he picked 11 Englishmen. What names like that? Peter, Paul, Matthew. Where you come from over there? All 11 of them is white boys, except the nigga that killed Christ. He an Arab Jew. Judah. And you put that crap down on your children and wonder why these niggas are so crazy?
In your mind.
And we are back. Now, what we about to do now, we about to go into rapid fire with Brother Supreme and Brother Fantastic. Like I said, no clock. There will be no clock. The debaters will be engaging directly. So, brothers, it's on. Let rapid fire begin.
Well, I guess I'll pick it up and start off with because they say I missed the incest aspect of it. Well, incest, man, that's a tough one. I mean, you should know who that still falls back on the parents. Your parents should be able to tell you who your folks are. One of the me and Supreme King Coon are about around the same age. One of the tests Well, everybody was your grandma would ask you the girl you were interested in, well, what's her name? What's her people name? So you know not to be, going dipping in that pond, as they say, so you don't get, that whole incest thing going on. So I would say that if we have this case of incest going on, that again just goes back to the lower level blacks that aren't keeping up with who they're actually fucking sleeping with and where their gene pool starts and ends.
Brother Supreme, you muted, brother.
No, I was saying, I think that I'll go ahead and cede that point to Mr. Fantastic, because we got some bigger fish to fry when it comes to this anti-black thing. At the beginning of my of all of this, I stated that black people are so fragmented. There's so many different types of and groups within black society that um, it's impossible for any one black person to be anti-black, because there is no consensus or unity among black people. Now, those different groups, they have different strategies, and I think it would be similar to five generals having five different strategies to win a war. Well, just because some of those general strategies are outright stupid or insane, that doesn't necessarily make them against their own armed forces. They could just be really, really stupid, which I'm placing on the heads of some of these groups. Perhaps it is that they are really, really stupid. But again, that goes back to the whole thing of the intent. Is their intent towards destroying the consensus of their own? No, no, not at all.
Well, that's the thing with intent, though. I mean, intent is subjective. I mean, if a person that's trying to keep from getting caught or keep from getting, if we're going to use let's use the trial or the law premise, I'm never going to admit to my true intent. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to admit to it. And one of the biggest things and issues when it comes to intent, and we really gonna get to the the nuts and bolts of this thing, is a black woman, her intent of staying in power and staying in command of the black community. She's willing to sacrifice her sons. She's willing to sacrifice her daughters. She's willing to sacrifice the men that she have children with in order for her to stay in power. So when we go the intent route, I see a lot of the talented Mr. Ripley. And what was the movie with the Usual Suspects? Was that the one with Kaiser Sose, right? The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of Kaiser Sose in the Black Woman, if not anyone else, because she's very very good at she has the best alibi. All right, we will stick in the law premise. She has the best alibi of anyone. She's a minority. She's a woman. She's impoverished. Her man by societal standards is a failure or or lesser than. He's not empowered like other men, so she gets to hang back in the shadow and use all of these crutches as a reason as to why she behaves in the way she behaves, and all the blame comes back on the black man. Then gets to claim, as you say, your defense as you use which is a great one, is a great defense by all means. But hey, this shout out to a great attorney, and a great defense lawyer over here. But me as a prosecutor, man, I'm going to have to point out the fact that, like I said, if I really really pick down into it and I can break this thing apart and I can talk to her one on one, I'll get her to expose that true intent. And the black woman's true intent is her keeping her authority and her deification and her level in the black community. That's my argument.
Yeah, and actually, I agree with you. Much like an animal likes to keep power over itself, Much like an animal does not understand long term repercussions of actions, even if you were to place in front of that animal a whole bunch of dead baby animals, a whole bunch of dead male animals of its same kind. Um, is that going to detract it from still wanting to do whatever it wants to do, especially if it's wild? No, it's still going to act upon it because the concepts of long term repercussions and so forth are just a blank to it. Such is the same when you talk about these different groups, particularly like you stated, these women in power, particularly feminist and so forth. Okay, if you were just to look and show them, when has there ever been a group of women that have been in power and that have upheld a nation? That doesn't mean anything to them. Look at how your society is working right now. Look at all of the children that are suffering. That doesn't mean anything to them. Look at where your prospective men going to come from for your daughters and so forth. They're at the bottom of the rung. They could barely read. That doesn't mean anything to them because the only thing that they are looking at is immediate gratification, just like an animal searches for food, sex, and a little fun.
Oh man. Okay. So let's see. So the animal aspect. So okay, let's get into that. All right, because human beings are animals. So that's not far fetched. What you're saying is true. All right, we're complex animals. So even in that with animals, okay, I'm pretty sure you've been to a circus at some point in time in life, haven't
Yeah, I call it YouTube.
you? We've all been to a circus. We've all seen Siegfried and Roy before them tigers tore their ass in half. We've all seen trained animals. That's the thing about it. The thing about being a human animal is that you can train yourself, or you can look at someone that's more advanced than you, or want to do something you'd like to do, and you copy that person to train yourself to be like that person. When you refuse to do that, even in your animalistic and your primal instincts, then that's not even an excuse. That's more along the lines of psychopathy. You're fucking you're insane. Okay, that's the separation. That's the separation of human animal versus like other animals. You have an
Well,
understanding of choice to be made for the most part, unless, like I said, if you're clinically determined to be mentally challenged. Okay, but again, we both know usually that is not going to be a large sum. So
okay, okay. If I can intercede with you right there,
go ahead,
if I can intercede with you right there.
go ahead.
Okay, so we know that because you were talking about, being on the spectrum. Yeah, at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
being on the spectrum, not being able to understand certain things, and we brought up I did the whole thought about animal. Okay, well, in certain ways, I have to say less than animal. There are animals, particularly the female types, that will fight tooth and nail for their young.
Damn.
And yet, how do you explain mothers who would leave little children at home by themselves to go to a club? You have to be mentally deranged in order to do that. That's lesser than an animal so far as thought and understanding of the protection of your progeny for your legacy. Explain that, please.
Okay, I got you. So again, this is really. I love this shit, bro. Like, I gotta you making me work. So okay, but okay, me and you both know what that even in the animal kingdom, you have what you call a mother that rejects her maternal instinct. in the wild, those animals are just, they're either left alone and pretty much they die because the mom has them, she births them and she refuses to nurse them, or she turns on them and she eats them, or but in captivity in the zoo or in like a domestic situation, what would happen is that you'd have the outside source like the zookeeper or so on and so forth, who would be there to take the children away as soon as they were had, because they see the mother, not her maternal instinct not kicking in. So
Right.
to that point, that comes back to what I'm saying as to where we have to set up some type of parameter or some type of, and I'm not saying, of course, a birthing test or anything like that, but by all means, once a mother has shown herself to be untrustworthy, I mean, if you're on your third baby daddy, I don't feel like you should be able to keep that child. You're sexually irresponsible. And if you're that sexually irresponsible, especially you compound that with poverty, well, it's no way that child's going to make it. So I believe, again, us as the people with a better understanding of how a family structure should be, so on and so forth, we should campaign and we should do everything in our power to get that child placed with a family that would be better suited. There are millions upon millions of people who can't have children, and millions upon millions of people who are on waiting lists to adopt children. And I just think, man, that like you said, that's one of the most abused and overused, I don't want to say blessings. I don't want to get to the whole, religious aspect of it, but opportunities or privileges. That's what I say. Privileges of being a human being.
But I have to cut you off. Because of this. Now, you used the thought about animals that do not care for their own offspring, and we're doing this in the whole context of anti-black. That's the main scope of this conversation or this debate. So, do those animals that don't care for their own offspring, are they anti that animal?
Uh, 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 um, uh, no, they're not. They're not anti that animal per se or completely or totally. But like you said, if you're anti your own lineage to a degree, are you not anti that animal? If you're not anti yourself by destroying your own lineage, you have to be considered at some degree anti yourself.
Well, yeah, I would think that would stand true if you were competent. But we've already stated that you said that there were animals that do not care for their own offspring, and we already set up that, of course, you have that mother of that animal that the neglect or does whatever, and the offspring dies. That animal is not anti-animal. Okay, so we have that on a much larger scale. You're the one that brought up the whole thing about the 21 million abortions, and then I added into that the different cases of abuse, of neglect, willful neglect. I mean, how do you explain that?
Well, the only explanation you'll get to that, again, I say, and like I said, if we go by your theory that all these people are clinically determined
Animals, animals or less.
challenged, we'd have to first prove that. We first have to prove that, and like I said,
by their actions.
But again, the thing about being a human being is that human beings are extremely complex. You have animalistic human beings that just don't care, or as the real niggas would say, just don't give a fuck. Okay, or they only care about themselves, and they're doing what's in their best interest. And I think it's far more people that are doing what they want to do, more so than being these animalistic, just uncontrollable, no actual human thought process human beings, adult human beings at that. And
Okay.
like I said, if we do the test on them, man, and they prove to be below the standard, below the spectrum, hey, I'm all for it. But my whole my my only counter to your or objection to your theory would be is we gotta get some tests did, man. Gotta
Okay,
get-
so let's turn it up on this complete head. Since you brought up the whole thing about the abortions and that as a loss of life um being anti black, anti life, anti black, anti legacy, right?
Mhm.
Okay, isn't it the low of that demographic that is actually responsible for the growth life wise within black societies? I mean, by the numbers, the more educated individuals that are operating on these higher thought patterns are having less and less children.
Well, and that's what I'm and that's the tricky word there is did you say responsibility? Or did what can you repeat what you said again just so I know how to approach it?
So those individuals that are operating at a higher level,
Uh-huh.
and you could even say more responsibly and so forth, they are having the least amount of children. If we want to make the argument about anti-life is anti-black, well, the individuals that are on the lower spectrum are the ones that are having the most children,
Okay.
which goes into I think what you used in one of your videos was um, in these groups basically making a black idiocracy.
All right, well, then we get into the concept and understanding of quality over quantity. Again, if you're going to have the lower of the dynamic having the most children, which I would definitely agree with you upon that by all means. Um, the issue is this, and it comes back to what I said before. I feel like if and when a woman has X amount of kids, I'll say anything more than two out of wedlock and by different men, after you have your third child and it's by a different man and you're impoverished and you've never been married, there should be some type of assessment done. There should be, again, I'm going to run with your premise. You should be tested to see if you're on the spectrum. You should be have a very thorough mental, emotional, financial, and every type of possible assessment done, investigation, what have you, so we can see what's going on with you as to why you're using your vagina as a weapon, because that's what you're doing.
I don't think any test needs to be done. I mean, all you have to do is just look within the animal kingdom and compare.
Well, that's the difference. That's the difference, though. I mean, even the animals, man. One of the most intelligent animals there are elephants. Elephants don't just mate for the sake of mating, because I think their gestational period is a lot longer. I think it's actually up to a year for elephants.
Hmm.
Even their understanding is elephants don't just keep having fucking baby after baby after baby after baby after baby. I mean, and we can even go back to the whole slavery
What?
aspect and the cropping aspect. Even great farmers knew you have to rotate your crop and you have to give the land enough time to refurbish itself, or excuse me, not refurbish, replenish itself, so you can get the best possible crops. So I think,
Right.
you know again, we're trying to explain extremely simple things and well-known examples to people that are just reckless and are looking out for themselves. I feel like a lot of these black women, they're not. It's not that they don't know or they're on the spectrum. It's that, again, a child provides. Hold on, let me get this out. You got it. A child provides everything that a black woman needs. It provides her with shelter. It provides her with food. It provides her with $7,000 to $10,000 a year on free money from tax returns. It provides her with child support to lord over the man that she had a fucking child with, even if she don't really fucking like him. So again, that is a woman taking advantage of her possibilities more so than her reacting to her animalistic, or primal desires.
Well, you just stated that even elephants show a little bit of propensity of planning when having their children. Um, so again, I contend that you have these supposedly are ones that are supposed to be functioning as higher animals that can't even they can't even outthink or out plan an elephant. I think that that's sad, and it shows that their mentality must be lacking in many ways. Um, and for a lot of the people to go back to the whole thing with the incest thing, I think that you have a bunch of people who are sleeping with other people that are on the spectrum creating more spectrum and more and more. So you have these groups of individuals that you can describe as in many ways animals or less than. Now, can those individuals be classified as being anti black? No, they don't have the mentality to be classified as such.
Again, man, this again. That's what I'm saying.
Are you really going to sit up here and try to tell me, Mr. Fantastic, that in all of your endeavors thus far, all of the different things that you've seen throughout your career, that the individuals that fall within these groups of, um, supreme being, pro black, the Sabi got the cure to the coronavirus and AIDS and whatever and whatever else, uh, and knows how to recreate the pyramids in his mind. Uh, in addition to an individual worshiping an eagle and smoking weed, I mean, do you actually believe that such individuals have the capacity to understand and to plan long-term visions?
Well, even this would be my counter. Even they don't have the plan to understand the long term vision. The woman should understand the risk she's taking in getting pregnant. One of the most things, and because I think you agree with me on this upon everything. Most black women are feminists, even though they don't fully understand feminism. Most black women would consider themselves as feminists because they're woman first. Black women are the epitome of feminism because they're actually the only group on the planet who's above their men. As to where white women would wish they were, Asian women wish they were, every other woman on the planet would wish they were actually in control over their men. So black women are the goal of feminism. Okay. So with that being said, when feminism, what do they teach you? They teach you about, all of the things that the risk of the woman, domestic violence, pregnancy, earning, all these things. But let's go back to pregnancy. What's the main thing an excuse they use for pregnancy when they trying to get abortion? Well, a mother's health is, pregnancy is a very, very dangerous thing for a woman. Every time a woman gets pregnant, she could die giving birth. So, if anything else, being that the black woman is the epitome and the proof of feminism, she should understand that every time she lets a man ejaculate into her vagina, impregnate her, and she has a child, she's risking her life. So that would be my counter to your point.
Okay, so since so I won't delve into this whole thing of just black women, because I'm saying as a group, all of these different sectors of black society, they cannot be anti-black. Um, would you say that? And I'll just do rapid fire questions to you. Would you say that dating coaches are anti-black?
Ooh. To a degree, yes, I would say they are.
Okay. Would you say that Dom game is anti-black?
Plead the fifth.
Okay. Would you say that getting the bag is anti-black?
Oh, most definitely, thousand times over. I'll take that one to court. fight it, fund it,
Oh,
everything.
okay. Would you say that Ungawa Black Power is anti-black?
Oh, most definitely. Pro-black, all that bullshit is definitely that. By all means.
Hotep Hebrew Israelite, is that anti-black?
On the Hotep shit, yes. Hebrew Israelite, plead the fifth. Shout out to Chronicles of Judah.
Okay. Next question then. Would you say that Let It Burn is anti-black?
Let it burn. Let the whole community burn. Is that what you're referring to, sir? I have to you explain this philosophy to me because I think I know, but I'm not quite sure. So could you give me a brief synopsis of Let It Burn, please?
Yeah. The craziness and the degeneracy that is happening within said community at a large scale that is being endorsed, encouraged, and improved upon and increased in various ways. It does not make any sense to intervene and to involve oneself in trying to counteract those things. Better yet, it is a better strategy to get your own things in order and let all of that stuff burn itself out. Is that anti-black?
To me, I would not refer to that as anti-black. I would refer to that going back to your nature, not necessarily animalistic, but your nature aspect. To where, as you know, I think it's evergreen trees and things like that. When you burn down the forest, one of the things that can actually, one of the very few plants that survive are conifers. Conifers are trees that have cones for plants, and even when the plants aren't, the cones aren't fully developed and like spread out, the heat from the fire, if it was to be a forest fire, will actually accelerate the growth, accelerate the expansion of the cones, and then the seeds would expand because the cones pretty much open up due to the heat. And even though the forest is burnt down, that begins the next stage of life for the next, tree to take its place. So by all means,
So you even know about forestry, huh?
a little bit, I ain't that smart, man. I'm just a Googler. I'm a Googler, bro. I just Google all of this like just split second. You know what I mean? I got Google built into my motherfucking into my brain, man. That's how dumb I am. But by all means, um
So is pullout game anti-black?
nah, that's not anti-black. Nah, that's not anti-black at all. If that's hell, pullout game is the biggest promotion of baby mamaism and all that other shit ever, man. They love that.
Okay. Now, I'm jotting this stuff down because I want to make a record of this. Now, this whole idea of what Ramil Amir presses so far as take care of the men, screw all the women. Is that anti-black?
Ooh. No, I don't think that's anti-black. If you're speaking about the men of means and the men that have an understanding, no, because the men, as always, you look to any and every other demographic. The men set the tone, the men set the rules, the men control the people and lead the people, are going to be the leaders for the people to be successful. So I'm not going to say totally and agree upon with Ramil upon the, forget about the women completely and totally, but I'm definitely going to say you put the majority of the focus and and investment into the males, because the males are, if again, historically and even here currently, expected to be the leaders and carriers of any race or demographic.
Is mode one black? Anti-black?
Mode one is archaic dating philosophy that's, it's just ran its course. I mean, at last time I checked, the mode one proprietor is senior citizen age with a baby on the way.
So it's just interesting to me in all of this that these certain um, factions of thought, um, some of them you say are anti-black, some of them you say aren't. However, are any of the ones that were listed, do they promote killing black people?
Oh man, a couple of them. Well, no, I don't think. I don't think they promote the actual killing or death of black people. No,
Do any of them promote the destruction of black people?
not directly, but indirectly, most definitely.
Name one in household.
Well, one would be well, I want to use would I want to use mode one? Well, yeah, I would say mode one. Mode one was the last one you said, but the most recent. Again, that's a dating strategy. A lot of people that have an understanding of dating nowadays is only casual sex and nothing long term. So that's why I said that I use a descriptor that I did. It's an outdated form of dating approach or dating strategy because nowadays dating is all about meeting and quote unquote, the hookup. And a hookup consists of two adults having consensual sex, but
Mhm.
a lot of the times we know since you have the 70% out of wedlock mother rate, both the male, I'll say, I'm saying this on the record, both the male and the female are acting irresponsibly. Even though I still believe that the female holds the greatest risk and she has the final say in childbirth, you know, it's still up to the male to be more smart with his penis. So that's not even a possibility.
So, how does mode one lead to any type of anti blackness?
Well, again, it leads to more unwanted pregnancies by low level individuals who are not equipped or should be having children and are going to raise those children in two parent households in a healthy environment, showing how uh, intelligent or at least competent, let's not even say intelligent, a competent black man and black woman should interact with each other and treat each other in order to raise their child in a healthy environment.
So, so are you trying to argue that individuals that I would say get in some type of sexual activity and end up having children, um, even if they're ill equipped to take care of those children, that by means of doing that, they're anti black?
Yes. If you're having children, if you're having children with no intent of raising those children positively for them to be successful, that is one of, outside of killing another black person, that is one of the most anti-black things you can do. You're purposely putting you're almost, I won't say purposely, but it's like you're almost purposely putting a black person out here as a child that will grow up to be a failure in this society and be just another statistic. And as a parent, with you and me both being parents, we understand the biggest failure of any parent is to fail your child.
Okay, so wouldn't that have to include their intent?
Again, the intent goes, and this is where I have to shift the intent away from the man back to the woman, to the black woman, because again, black women run most of the households in the black community. So we're going to talk from the realm of actual, the current facts and the reality. We're going to have to shift this back to the black woman, with the black woman being in control of most of the majority of households in the black community, and her having an understanding of how baby making works and the expectations of and what it takes to raise a child, for her to continually have children that she can't take care of. That is the most one of the most anti-black things that can be done on the planet. That has to be intentional, because again, she understands what it takes to get pregnant. She also has the most different versions of contraceptives to prevent it. and she refuses to use any of those preventative measures just so she can benefit from the system and receive free housing, free food, money for free food, and possible child support from the man that she got pregnant by.
Okay, and so let's back up just a little bit. Let's back up.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, brother Supreme. Timekeeper. We're gonna go for 6 more minutes, and then we're gonna do closing arguments. So, could you put 6 minutes on the clock, please, timekeeper? Continue, brothers.
Okay, so just to back up just a little bit. Remember when I was stating the groups of individuals that are having the most children, that are adding to the numbers, that really sustain the numbers of Black society, are the same individuals that you're talking about. So how is it that they are anti-Black?
Say it one more time for me so I make sure I got the right context.
So the individuals that you just described, the ones that are making these irresponsible decisions and so forth, blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
by number, they are the ones that are actually sustaining the numbers within the Black community to this day. The majority of the individuals that have um, that are of the upper echelon and upper society have less kids than that group that you just spoke of.
Okay. Again, my even again what's is
So numbers wise, how could they be anti-Black if they are the main pushers of the numbers,
well
the population of
okay,
Black?
this is it. Again, I go back to your argument of intent. If they do not even understand that they're sustaining the amount of the Black race by having the children, but their actual intent is just to have the children for their own personal benefit, that cancels everything out. And as you say, you understand that. I doubt they understand that. If you were to give any one of those people, ask them the statistics when it comes to accomplish, hey, bro, hey, iron sharpens iron, brother. All right. If you were to ask any of those people to give you any of the current stats concerning childbirth, reproduction rate, all of those things, they don't even know what you were talking about when it comes to reproduction rate. I doubt very, very heavily that it even 50% of them, and I would say as high as 65 to 70% of them wouldn't know what the hell you was talking about. So ignorant of that fact, and they don't know that they're doing it, it would alleviate the fact of them actually doing it, because again, that goes back to your own intent argument.
I have to give you a hand clap to that one. That was pretty good. I do have a question though.
Yes, sir.
Um, there's a comment in the chat, and I think it plays a vital role in some of our conversation that we're talking about of who is anti-Black. So there was a individual in the chat that says, "Wish we could talk about the 1.5 Black men missing in cities across the U.S. due to mass incarcerations and homicide versus these long conversations about nothing," as per Lacey Thomas. Now, do you think that type of sentiment, because we know where such individual deals with in these YouTube streets, would that person be considered anti-Black?
Oh, the Lacey Thomas character?
Yeah.
Oh, she's definitely anti-Black, man. Even though she's parading because she's like obsessed. Lacey Thomas is one of these people that hates the manosphere and hates Black men, but she's always here commenting on what we're doing. There are plenty of get the bag channels. There are plenty of, pro-Black channels and everything. And she could be anywhere in the world, but for some reason, Lacey Thomas is always here trolling us. So I mean, I don't get it, man. I really don't.
See, I have to argue against you. I do not think that an individual like those in the chat, like a Lacey Thomas or so forth, you can't consider her to be anti-black.
she has to be.
The concept of policy, activity, or ideas supersede her level of thought. She falls into the competency rule, not being able to understand long-term visions. So again, they could say and do these things, but they don't understand it. So how can you say that they are anti-black?
Well, again, she definitely falls up under your spectrum and possible mentally challenged theory. So that's an except there. Every rule has an exception, and she may be the exception to that rule. But outside of that, she's just a troll, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Zero Max, man. This wherever I'm at, somehow this lady claims she hates me so much, but she's always there, man. Like my shadow or like a little puppy, like on a leash. So I don't know, man.
Well, I know we have about 30 seconds left, and I know I don't want to go too much into my final dissertation. Did you have anything you want to
Nah,
share? Fantastic.
I'm good, man. We can hop into it.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to do closing statements now. We started off with Brother Fantastic, so I believe we will start up with Brother Supreme, timekeeper. 7 minutes on the clock, please.
Okay. Well, at the outset of this conversation, and I think the conversation has merit, even with the, I guess, little jabs that we took, at certain groups or whatnot. But just going the intellectual route, understanding that as a fragmented group, Black people are pretty much undefined. It's one of their greatest weaknesses because of this massive disintegration um, that rests between Black America. There is no one policy, activity, or idea that anyone could state, oh, that's at least a large sector or majority of Black people. So, since that's the case, since you have so many fragmented groups, it's impossible for a Black person to be anti-Black because there is no collective vision. There is no collective ideal of what it is to be Black. You can go to places of high intellectualism. Right now in the manosphere, you have these attacks being done from a certain academic out of Indiana University. He has his own concept of what it is to be Black. Then you have pro-Blacks who even their identification of what it is to be Black has changed so much. In times of old, there was individuals men who could be with whatever they want, and they were still could be considered pro-Black. But now you have an integration of more or less of the B1 school of thought and many sects of the conscious community that are saying that no, you have to be with, for men, you have to be with a Black woman in order to be Black. Even in that article that I was referring to earlier, I made a comment in there and I got a reply. And one of the women in it, who was a feminist that replied to me, she stated that all Black men should be feminists because they all should be thinking about the interest of Black women. Right here on the manosphere, a few think that way. We get a huge concept from that in Ramil Amir. He doesn't think that men should be thinking about the interest of women at any time. So, uh, in between that, there are different factions and different groups that feel different ways. There is no black community. There is no uh, confined or defined group, rather, of that individuals could state as this is what it means to be black. Since that's the case, a person that has grown up in any of these groups or has gravitated to any of them, if they go against another black person, they may not be anti-black. They could just be pro whatever particular sector that they feel. There's some in our chat right now that are pro self. Wherever they go, they're still black. There's some in our group here that are like me, more of the pro SYSBM, pro Coon type. And people can call us whatever we want or whatever they want, but we're still black. So when we get involved in different things and we grow and have our different families or get involved, and some will have, baby mamas and so forth, and yet they're still going to grow their black experience in various ways. That's quite different from outside groups that, regardless of your personal ideology, your personal definition of black, your um, actions within your quote unquote blackness, they don't see or understand or know any of that. They just want it gone, eliminated, period. That, I think, is the only true definition of a person being anti black. It's quite different from someone who may have a plan that doesn't work. It's two different things. Um, like I was stating at first, um, in one of my back and forths with Mr. Fantastic, there's many generals that are many black generals. They have many different strategies. Some can win the war, some can't. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all of them are against their own armed forces. No. Uh, Even with myself, when I make the statement that a lot of people have heard on different channels, when I say, well, let the community burn, um, even that is not an anti black sentiment. It's a way to get rid of elements that are holding back other segments of the community or of Black society. Not saying that those individuals are anti-Black or aren't Black enough, or that their experience is invalid, but I'm just saying that uh, as a group, it holds back another subset that is achieving greater things. Oh, I'll concede my time and close on that.
All right. Timekeeper, let me get 7 minutes on the clock, please. Brother Fantastic, you up?
All right. So my opponent used the law aspect of the argument earlier, but I think I'm going to shift over to something I heard him say last. So that's my wheelhouse of expertise. He used the five generals analogy, and what I like to say to him in the generals analogy is be this: even in that five generals analogy, there will be one clear set general who outranks the other four. And far too often than not, that general, that general say so in his charge, his strategy, his and usually it's the most senior person, all right, a person that has the most accolades under his belt, and who's proven in a war fighting situation that his strategy would be carried out. Okay. So even though if and when those other four generals may have a philosophy, they may have a strategy, they may have a plan, they still have to get it cleared throughout the ultimate one that's in charge at the head. And I'm in total agreement with you. We definitely need more generals in the Black community, and the generals will be seen as, of course, as being anti-Black, even if and when they know what's best. Because why? As you stated so eloquently several times, we're talking about the understanding of the lower class of the Black community. Those who you said yourself, who may even be upon the spectrum from a literal sense, and especially when you look at them from the from from the way it looks on the out, from the perceptional sense. Okay, so when we understand these things and we understand what we're dealing with individuals that my opponent has described as animalistic, mentally challenged, savage. I threw in there psychopaths and things like that. Well, what can be more anti-Black than a group of people who would let themselves sink down to that level? Again, the thing that separates a human from the actual animal is moral understanding, having a moral understanding, making great decisions, and being able to work within a societal framework. Far too often than not, is promoted by these same low level individuals that, you know, fuck the police, fuck 12, that's the white man's rule. Oh, you working in the white man's government, you working for the white man. Even when, again, if you were to talk to these people and ask them, hey, how many or what's the percentage of the corporations in the United States of America that are ran by the quote unquote white man versus those who are owned by Black men, what would be the number? They have no idea. So when we look at this from the military standpoint, there's a lot of people in the military, man, that think the upper echelon and the upper leadership are anti, the troops or the sailors or the airmen, the people that are below them, because a lot of the times they make decisions that seem like in best case scenario or in the best interest of the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and so on and so forth. And even though it may look like that to them, to the untrained eye, what is actually in the best interest of is the mission. Okay, it's the mission. And one of the biggest issues and problems that Black people have is that we don't have a mission, because there's so many people that are trying to get over on another Black person. They're trying to take from another Black person. They're even willing to take the life of another Black person. That even if you were to give them some type of mission statement of some type of order, they wouldn't follow it because they feel like, oh, that's the white man's way. And again, there is no true white man's way. There's a way of doing things successfully, and there's a way of doing things and failing. Okay, the white people aren't the only people that are successful on this planet. And when we talk from the racism aspect, again, show me in the last 40 years where racism has done more damage and taken more lives or black people than Black people. That would be my counter to my opponent. We have to start establishing and start challenging a lot of these lazy and enabling ideologies that keep us in the hole that we're in as a race of people. Black people are some of the most spectacular people in the history of this planet. We've suffered atrocities, and unlike any other, survived, not only survived, but thrived. And I think that people like to hearken back to a time they didn't even experience for themselves. You're basically trying to get credit for something you never even had to go through. I say this all the time. I'm like, even if a person was to call you the N word nowadays with the hard R, like they were an angry pirate, you pretty much have the authority to whoop that motherfucker in that spot he stands in, and no one will fucking care the wiser. They will be like, hey, that person deserved it. But our fathers and forefathers didn't have that same opportunity. They had to drop their heads down and step off the sidewalk in front of their families just when a white man walked in their presence. So ultimately, again, man, I feel like I know we need to get to this point of where the lowest of the low are no longer the loudest voice of black people, because you can't let the dumb lead be the generals of your race. And that should be my time.
All right. That's going to bring this debate to a close. Good shit, gentlemen. Good shit. Good shit. Good shit. I don't know what y'all look like on time. Usually, this time we know we take a few questions from the audience. If y'all have time, I don't know what y'all look like on time. What you look like on time, Brother Supreme?
Yeah, I have a few, man.
What?
It was a hard debate, man.
Yeah, man, this is good shit, man. This was really good shit. I like this kind of shit, man. I really like this, man. This is one of the better ones to me. I mean, because it was good shit. What you look like on time, Brother Fantastic?
I can shoot you for another like 15 or 20x. I'm with it.
Okay. If you have any questions for the debaters, y'all know how we do it here. You got to either super chat those questions or cash app. Because if not, I will not put them on the big board. I won't ask them. I'll have my bot erase them shits. So if you got if you got any questions, shoot them up now. And remember, they are to be cash apped or super chatted if you wish to ask a question of the debaters. Because if you don't, I'm gonna let the brothers go. Because these brothers have wives and lives and children and shit like that. So I'm not just gonna keep them up here for the sake of keeping them up here. So if you got questions, shoot those questions up now so the brothers can go ahead and answer them.
Hey
All
man,
right.
I have go ahead.
yeah. Let me just, hey man, this was work, bro. This was work. And I love it. I love this, man. Like this. Shout out to S for taking our suggestion. We joked about this shit on Ramil's last. We joked about it on Ramil's last thing, and like I say, you don't have to be a man. We have to start debating each other or whatnot. And hey, man,
Mhm.
this was good, man. This was great. I was challenged. I had to figure this thing out. That, you know what I mean, to actually counter. It's not no arguing, no yelling. Everybody stuck to the time limits, man. Hey, shout out to Supreme King Cool, man. This was work, man. I really this helped improve my skills a lot, man. I really do appreciate it.
Well, man, I mean, I think on both sides, man, we took some points, and I think in certain instances we'll be able to grow those points on other panels.
Oh, most
'Cause, so, man, man, that animal boy. When I was thinking about it, I said, "Man, that's a good point," because I gotta use that one day. But yeah, man, I do have a question for you, man,
Yeah,
and I'm being totally serious here.
yeah.
No bars aside. I know there's some things going on in the space or whatever, but holding to my debate tactic and also to my position, which I actually do hold. Um, would I hold that B1 is not anti-black? What say you?
It's no way around that, bro. It's no way that they aren't. Like I said, I'm not really going to delve into that. But again, show me where they've actually helped black people. Again, you have to. One of the things that was and that I guess that era has passed somewhat since I came into this space, but I'm just now coming up on a year here. And one of the biggest things that was like the moniker of the manosphere was show your work. So until they can show me anybody that's actually benefited from whatever they're putting out through alleged content or so on and so forth, or even in actual real life, you can't because like it's more, and then especially like I said, I can see the we had the whole pedo gate, and we had a whole bunch of other things that's just that they perpetuated here in this space. And like I said, when I seen you cause more mayhem on the internet, you know what I mean, than you did more, did positive work in the real world, there's no way you can convince me that you're somehow pro-black.
I have to give cover, and isn't this crazy? Isn't this crazy, RJ? Supreme King Coon is defending B1. But nah, man, I don't think anti-black. I like no, I don't think so. I think uh, when you look at the fragments of black society, I think that the those individuals are protecting what they envision and what they are comfortable with, and their definition of what black people should be. So, is it a long term viable strategy? I don't think so, but I don't think that they understand or have the comprehension to grasp that on a wider scale that their plan wouldn't work. But I wouldn't quantify them as being anti-black though.
Well, I think my only counter to that would be and we're giving them like an extended debate, I guess. Would be what's your advertisement? What are you advertising? If you went into a hamburger shop, right? And hey, we're out of burgers, you'd be like, what the fuck? What do you mean? How you out of you're a hamburger place? How you out of burgers? Hey man, we don't even really sell burgers like that. We just put a burger sign up, and we mostly do fried fish over here. And you, huh? So I think that's a situation we're getting into, man. Like you said, when you claim to be something and you don't deliver what you're claiming you're advertising, what are you really doing? You know what I mean? And that's just my take on that.
Okay. Um. Hmm. Well, I doubt we're gonna get too many questions, man, because I
Yeah,
think it's a hard situation for people to give questions to,
yeah.
especially with different factions going on within this YouTube space, man. But I do have to ask you this, and I want you to think about it. Can
Oh shit.
can a person be anti two parent family and be pro black?
Can you be what now? Anti what?
Can you be anti two-person family or two parent family and be pro black?
Oh man. No, I don't see how you can. I don't see how you can. Again, like I said, everybody likes to use the exception as a rule for some reason, especially with us, with black people. But yeah, the best proven way of raising a child is a two-parent household. Hold up, X got a super chat. A big one at that.
Yeah,
Shout out to Zero
we
Max.
got to shout out to Zero Max 6 on the $50 super chat. Appreciate that, brother. He says we need to find a solution for all these wonderful single queens like Lacey Thomas. Do any of you do any of you support forced arranged marriages of quality black men and these wonderful dark skinned queens like the ones crying for help in these chats? I don't know who he's referring that to. Whoever want to take it can take it.
Hell no to the no, no, no. Hell no. No. Look, if he cannot get her own man, hey, you're in the wilderness, ma'am. Figure it out. They about I hear they're starting to legalize prostitution in New York. Good luck.
Good luck on
Man.
that 50 spot, brother Zero Max.
Good grief, man. But I don't even know how to answer that, man. You have to slide that to Super Slide one day or something. God. Uh, oh man. Arrange.
Well, let me take a crack at it. Let me take a crack at it.
All right.
Now, you would think for black people that arranged marriages would work. You know, you groom these two young children up and you say, hey, look, you're gonna be somebody's wife. You need to get out there and be somebody's husband. You know, if you could make it a reality, it would work. But see, the problem with that is that it would be hard to make it a reality because of how black society is. Um, a lot of parts of black society lack structure. Let's be honest. The structure is lacking. So when you're talking about these people who do these arranged marriages in other parts of the world, other races and cultures who do it, see, those races and cultures have they have a degree of structure that it's a foundation that these arranged marriages are based on, and everybody knows what's expected of them. I think with inside black society, we kind of get it confused about what's expected of us because we're not really taught it. So I believe that I'm not necessarily sure that arranged marriages would work for black folks. I just don't think it will work for us, man. You would think that would be the answer, but I just don't think it is because we're lacking so many other elements, that would make the whole arranged marriage thing work. That's just my opinion, Don't you know? We got a good look on the super chat. Ophiuchus Lucas with the $5, and he says, "Are these various supposite black first groups closer to aggressive cults than true pro blacks?" I don't know who he's addressing that to, but whoever want to take it can take it.
You want to take it first, SKC?
Um. Wow. Um. I think they're a combination of the two. I think they're an aggressive pro-black cult. Now, in saying that, I think that they view their subset as a true subset, and they view the masses of black people who are um, in any way have a viewpoint that mirrors theirs or complements theirs as part of their community or family. So, um, yeah, I think that they have this weird view um, that black people at large are their people. And one way to prove that is when having conversations with them. A lot of times, if you try to give some type of criticism towards the community, they take it personal, as if you're talking about their actual family members or individuals that they have interacted with and know. So that shows you that they are aggressive and have a cult like mentality, but they do so under the guise of being a pro black. And that's why, again, I wouldn't list them as an anti black group.
Well, my answer would be that the majority of them are. Again, most of these pro-black groups are about collecting money. They're not even saying anything new. They're remixing the philosophies and the monikers of Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of these civil rights activists and things from way back before they were even born and they knew about. And they're trying to put them in a time that it doesn't even really fit in. Again, no black person today has the struggle of a pre-civil rights movement, pre-Jim Crow, pre-Jim Crow, pre-Jim Crow, or black person experience, bro. And they're constantly trying to sell it like it is that way. And I think that's one of the biggest issues and problems we have, man. You're out here telling these young black boys, "Oh, you got to watch out for the police. The police gonna shoot you down in the streets, and you got to be careful and don't say nothing to massa." And I'm like, man, stop, bro, stop. Okay, again, if you're not out here doing crazy, stupid shit, bro, cops are not gonna fuck with you, man. All right, if you don't break the law, you have no reason to even deal with the law and come in contact with the law. And that's the least of the worries. They like to talk about and go to the furthest extreme versus telling these young boys, hey man, um uh be the best possible you can be, especially educational wise, and don't think with your bottom head, think with your top head. And the stuff that comes out of your bottom head is worth more than its weight in gold. Okay, I think that's something that we really, really need to start focusing on, and that's something that pro-blacks never ever talk about. They never ever talk about, young boys being, making better decisions with their penis.
Yeah, that's mm, mm. Huh. I don't know, man. It's I can't group them as anti-black. Man. I can't do that. As crazy as that sounds, but no. Uh, uh, any other questions, man? Before I break up out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'm gonna let these brothers shake out, man. I ain't gonna keep them up here all night if y'all ain't gonna ask them shit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna keep the brothers up here if you're not gonna ask them nothing.
You know,
Not gonna keep up
before
here for nothing.
I came over here, X, I was having a conversation with the ladies at what's that, Danielle George and Concrete Rose.
Black woman's
Mhm.
perspective.
Yeah, yeah. And I was there with Obsidian about the whole thing about the Aaron Fountain Jr. the debacle with his
Oh
article.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And man, it's like um there was a young gentleman. He came up on the set, and he was saying a few things about uh, black men helping out in the community, and a lot of us were saying that that's it's reactive instead of preventive, and he doesn't understand what he's jumping into because you got 1,000 for everyone that you're trying to help. I'm interested in seeing what um, Mr. Research had to say about that because I saw him in the chat, man. But if he could pose a question, man, I would love to see him get his input because it kind of goes into the conversation that we're having tonight about the who is really anti-black.
Mm. Well,
And the
brother,
reason why,
research can come up if he wants to. If you want to come, if you want to come up, brother, research. Let me know, man. I'll send you. I'll send you the link in your email if you want.
and the reason why I say that is because Miss Fantastic. Um, say with your kids, are you raising your kids to, with all of your energy and your time and resources, to go out and serve the kids of others who made all sorts of crazy and wild decisions?
Hell no. Why would I do that? Why would I make my child a parent? You know what I'm saying? Why would I make my child a pseudo parent? Again, yeah, man, my child's supposed to be reaping the benefits of my hard work and what I've done to ensure that they're able to enjoy, the level of comfort they have in life, and furthermore, for them to enjoy the good decision making that I've instilled in them to make, versus trying to go out here and be the savior or be the trainer of other people's kids. When hell, these kids won't even listen to grown motherfuckers. Hell, as a child, man, if another child tries to tell them or correct them, they end up being a physical altercation, or something extreme. So by no means, no, I'm not raising my child to raise your child. That's your job, not my kid's job.
Okay. Now, some people would view that as being anti-black.
Of course, of course they would think that's fucking anti-black, and I'm anti-black as fuck. Fuck y'all. That's it. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job, man. And again, I think one of the biggest things we have out here, man, is this idea that, again, I've done right my whole life. I've done right my whole life, and somehow I'm supposed to sacrifice me making the right decisions my entire life for somebody that's a habitual fuck up, for lack of better words. That's not my
Now,
life, man. I can't live your life for you.
now, X. That's see, it's a different thought because I was thinking about it, as a father and whatnot. But we pour so much energy into children, into their upbringing, into keeping them out of bad situations, and uh, helping them to be able to grow and expand. And what people in the community are asking for is for individuals like you, Xavier, even RJ, a fantastic, to sacrifice your children so that those children can help their children.
Which is a job that is up to them. Now, that's the shit that I disagree with. I mean, I raised 4 kids myself. Okay. All my kids are adults. And I didn't believe that other people's children should be, looking out for my children. I mean, that's my goddamn job. All right. I brought them into the world. I'm their parent. Therefore, I'm the person who is supposed to be 99.999% responsible for them, how they turn out, how they grow up, where they go to school, what kind of values, what kind of ambitions, all that shit I'm supposed to be in charge of shaping. If someone else has to come along and help your children find their way, that means you were a bullshit, irresponsible parent. If someone else has to come in and help your children find their way, um, because obviously you didn't help them do that, so the children are lacking, and I think that's what it is. Um, I think that within Black society, we have a certain segment of people who say, well, y'all need to come in, y'all need to mentor, you need to do this, you need to do that. So basically, what they're doing is they're admitting that some parents have fucked up. That's what they're admitting. If they're saying, "Oh, y'all need to come in and y'all need to mentor, and y'all need to build schools and build playgrounds, and you guys who've done shit with your life, you need to come up in the hood and look out." What you're basically admitting is that the parents of these children were fuck ups. You're admitting that. You're admitting that.
Now,
I mean, come on.
now you know what was told to me when I had a similar thought with this individual. They said, "Well, it has to start somewhere. Somebody has to roll up their sleeve and take care of it."
Yeah, they're mothers and fathers. They're mothers and fathers.
Place to me, the motherfucker that
Yeah.
household you in. That sounds like
Yeah, that's where it starts. Shit. Because if we continue to go on this path where we keep saying, well, you guys, you guys have went out in the world and, had good jobs and started businesses and, y'all doing okay for yourself. Y'all motherfuckers need to come back into the neighborhood and do X, Y, and Z. So what you're saying is we're giving parents license to be fuck ups. So people who weren't fuck ups can come in there and make shit better. To me, that's stupid. I mean, when they talk about it needs to start somewhere. Now, don't get me wrong. All right. Because I got nephews and shit that I kind of mentor and shit too. Don't get me wrong. But see, that's the thing. I shouldn't have to come and mentor your nephew. Motherfucker, you need to go in there and mentor your nephew, your grandson, your small cousin. You should do that. I shouldn't have to come in and mentor your fucking nephew. Why don't you go mentor your nephew? See, that's the shit, because I think it should start there. I think it should start right there in the circle of influence. I think we rely too much on outside influences to come inside and make shit right. I mean, because these kids have uncles and grandfathers and male cousins and all this kind of shit. Why can't it start there? If it's not going
Well,
to start with their old daddies, why can't it start there? Why do people from the outside have to come in and fix an internal problem? I don't get that.
because it's the community. but
Man, bullshit.
but I gotta get out. But I'm gonna leave the fantastic with this though, man. Great, scuffle, man. I like going back and forth with you. Um, One thing I am gonna say though is that there's one point that I'm gonna come at you again with, man. That question that I left you with, and I said, um, can individuals that are against a two-parent household setup be pro-black? And I really want to see, because you said no. If you're against the two-parent family setup, you can't be, for a pro-black person, or you can't be for black people as a whole. I want to see how that argument stands up against Ramira Mills' ideology.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying it's not for not. It's definitely not pro black. You can't be pro black and say that. I'm not saying you can't be for black people, but it's definitely you can't be pro black and use that, because with the whole pump and dump thing. But he doesn't promote. He doesn't. And Ramil's like Ramil's got a whole bunch of out there philosophies, man. He's on the whole. I think you're referring to his surrogacy thing, right? I guess that'd be more so along that lines. The surrogacy thing was just like single father
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't suggest. I can understand that, but again, even with me, the ideal situation would be, even if you're not married to the woman by a legal state sanctioned marriage, it would be a consensual, healthy relationship, loving relationship between two people that actually want to be with each other long term and raise that child as a family unit. I agree with you with that 1,000%, bro.
Well, what you want before I go, General? What's going on, man?
Yeah, we've been joined by the general. What's good with it, general?
About hey X, I really, really appreciate it, man. As always, X,
All
hey,
right.
I appreciate you even inviting me, man, considering me to be on here, bro. As always,
Absolutely.
I appreciate you,
Absolutely,
man.
man.
Shout out to S.K.C. Hey, man, this is one of the. Even though I'm not just saying this because I'm involved. Hey, more of these manosphere on manosphere debates got to happen, bro. This is excellent.
Bro, I
Yeah.
already know what I want to do. Number two with Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, Ramil,
Yeah.
No, me and you. I know what subject I want to do next.
what's that?
Um, should black men believe in love?
Oh man, whoa! We gonna have to get that. We gonna give that some time, man. We gonna let some other motherfuckers. Come back and follow. Right? You already know what side I'm on that one. Nope.
Yep.
And on that, I'm out. Holla, man.
Peace. Peace, brother. Fantastic. General, what's good with it, man? The hell. The general be coming up here and walking away from his shit, I think. I think he go smoke a cigar and shit once he get up here.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Um,
I think that'll be an interesting subject for me and Fantastic to do, man. I'm pro on that subject. He's anti, of course, and I think
mm,
within the manosphere you have a lot of dudes that they have a lot of interesting thoughts when it comes to that. But yeah, I think it will be a hell of a debate.
mm, okay. Yeah, because I'm gonna try, to put together a few debates like these. I mean, I know people like to see the debates, where, there's a lot of animosity or tension between the two folks. But I mean, I think debates like this are needed, man. And I'm glad you brought it to me, man. I appreciate it, brother. I do. Because these type of conversations need to be had so it can be like, a true debate where, it's not personal. Y'all basically just debating the points, as opposed to, both brothers debating, personality traits, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So this was good stuff, man. I liked what I heard tonight, man. I liked what I
Man,
heard tonight.
my very last thing, I'm gonna just ask Lacey Thomas because she been in the chat all night, man. Should black men believe in love? I want to know her thought.
Mm.
I'll
Yeah,
leave
well,
out
I
one to
mean,
you.
I'm gonna go for a little while because I know the general want to get up here and say something. I mean, the links in the chat, so people are welcome to come up here and speak their piece. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this new thing now where I kind of open it up after the debate. I used to didn't do that, but now I'm willing to open it up for a little while. So anybody that want to come on, the link is in the chat. You come up here and speak your piece. Don't be debating with folks in the damn chat room because I don't like that shit. You wanna talk about something, address somebody, do the shit up here. Don't sit in the damn chat room and try to debate folks in the chat room. To me, that's just ridiculous. You can come right up here and say what you got to say. Don't hide behind your avatar and your keyboard. You know, straight like that. I'm gonna give the general a few minutes to come on back. If he don't, I'm probably just gonna close it out because it don't look like we're gonna have no more questions. And
Yeah, and
this
I
was
don't
good
think
shit
Miss
though, man.
Thomas is gonna answer my question. So I'm a head on out, man.
Yeah. Good shit, brother Supreme. You know, I'll be talking to you, man. We'll rap. We'll
Yeah.
rap.
Peace out to RJ, man. All right, y'all.
Yeah, man. Peace. Yeah. So if there's nothing else, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. But before I do that, a few programming notes. Tomorrow, another debate. I know we usually do DXL. But tomorrow we are going to be doing a debate between uh brother Amiri and MOT are going to be debating tomorrow, and they're going to be debating whether or not brothers can build on their own, minus the power structure. Brother MOT is going to be debating that they can. Brother Miri is going to be debating that they cannot. So make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on the TPOT YouTube page. And we're going to be starting early tomorrow. We're going to be starting at 9 tomorrow. As far as Saturday, because y'all know we've been doing Saturday debates here and there, I might have one on Saturday. I'm not sure. We're not going to do DXL tomorrow unless something comes up, and if we do the DXL, it's probably going to be at like 7 o'clock, and it's going to end at like 8:30 because I got to get ready for the big Amiri and MOT debate that's going down tomorrow. All right. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. The next couple of days, I'm working on a debate for Saturday. I don't know for sure, but I am working on it, y'all. I am. So don't hold me to it, though. Don't hold me to it. I am working on it, though. I'm working on a debate for Saturday. All right. And yeah, tomorrow we're gonna throw down, back-to-back debates. Y'all know that's not something that we normally do, but we're gonna be doing it this week. So tomorrow, no DXL. It's gonna be a debate, 9 o'clock. If we do DXL, it's gonna be early, like 7 o'clock. Just stay tuned for the thumbnail or whatever. So don't look like the general's gonna come back. So we're gonna go ahead and close out. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming through tonight. I want to thank these good people here, man, in this here chat room, and my moderators always doing what they got to do. Also, most importantly, I want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight, man, and watching us and spending some time with us. And now that the debate is over, what I want y'all to do is this: get on down to the Proper Thought on Facebook. That's Proper Thought, one word, series, the next word, on Facebook. That's our main page. It's a community page. Go ahead, like the page, share the page, follow the page. You can even catch up with old X down there. All you got to do is drop me a line. I'm guaranteed to get back in contact with you within 24 and 168 hours. Also, while you're there, get on down to the fan group book. That's the Proper Thought Series fan group page on Facebook. Go ahead, request to be a member. You guaranteed to get in there quick. It's a fan group page, so there's a lot of people down there, people posting shit. So you ain't just got to listen to old X run his mouth all the time. There's other people down there running their old mouths as well. So go ahead and become a member of the Proper Thought Series fan group page. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's the Proper Thought. Leave out the series. Proper Thought. Leave out the series on Instagram. Go ahead, follow us on Instagram. You are guaranteed to get a follow back. And y'all know we're going to end the night like this. Get your black behinds down to Facebook. Not Facebook. Damn. Get your black behinds down to Twitter. I must be sleepy. Get your black behinds down to Twitter. The Twitter handle is at TPOT Media on Twitter. That's at TPOT Media on Twitter. Go ahead. Follow us on Twitter, because if you don't, I will haunt you and your old black ass mama in y'all dreams simultaneously. Tonight, y'all will wake up and have the same nightmare. So get on down and follow us on Twitter. But anyway, I want to thank everybody once again, man, for coming out tonight, man. And I especially want to thank my debaters, Brother Supreme and Brother Fantastic. And I also want to thank my celebrity timekeeper, Brother R.J. Rochelle. Good job, my brother. Good job, my brother. And like I said before, make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, on the TPOT YouTube page, because we are going to be throwing down tomorrow again with another debate. Brother Amiri versus Brother MOT, and they will be debating, can brothers build without the white man? So make sure you have your black behinds here. You understand? Do you understand, Negroes? But anyway, with that, I will leave you with 3 words. You know, like I always do.
Open your mind, your mind, your mind, your mind.
Peace, folks.
So a community is where you control your commerce, you control your education, you control your house. We don't control none of that. We live in a hood. Well, what about the Negroes that get out? See, my cousin, see, he's a multi-millionaire, almost got $1 billion. Straight PhDs, working on two more. Driving down the street in Chicago in his Rolls Royce, enjoying himself, and he hit his siren, looked to the rear, and hit his cop car, flashing lights. He squeezed the steering wheel, man. Heart beats fast. Because he knows the price of a Negro, what it could be. And then when that cop car passed him by, he said, thank God. First way, that Negro thing you can't get away from. It's universal. They wasn't coming after you, but all your billions, with your Rolls Royce, with your PhD, didn't help. That's the hood. Why do you think you never pick up the paper 3 weeks over and over? You white thousands of black cops in America. Why don't you see white girls cry as black cops? I found out one point. I put the back of the head. Why do you think black cops are going to make them more spiritual? They got sense. No. They got enough sense to know that white folks don't tolerate it. And I will stop in our neighborhood for the reason why we will not tolerate. Now, if we were organized, which is hard to organize people who are listening to great and you don't know you great. But if we were, with the money we have, and the many people who would come to our aid that don't know what it's like to be a Negro, and we said, look, we saying, if we don't get a federal law to deal with police brutality, that any time a cop or anybody carry a gun, have to have a license just like you need to drive a car. And if you use it wrong, then you lose your license. And if you're up jail, you can never work again as a cop or a store boy or a private detective. Now, how do you get Congress to protect you? Well, you take your economic power and you call on your friends, black, white, young, and old, and say, this coming Christmas, if we don't have a federal law to outlaw police brutality by law, we call it for a nationwide boycott of Christmas and the start on Thanksgiving. 79% of all retail in America happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. People stay big all year, lose money just for Christmas, huh? Well, what happens now? Thanksgiving happens, Georgia, Cleveland, over, West House. They will get the bill, and all they got to do is make one phone call and say, Harry, Senator, I want that bill pushed through in 3 days. Okay, it's economic. It's that simple. But we have the power, but the system that wiped us out so bad.
Open your mind, your mind, your mind.
Only from the Prophet of Thought Series Media.
Open your mind, your mind.